guys, welcome back to another video for our Python tutorial. In this one we're going through classes, and in the last one we went over how we could import files from for other folders, and how we can use functional classes. I showed a bit of classes in the last one, but I will be doing this will be a more class specific video. I don't think this video will help you understand everything about classes, because we're actually going over object-oriented programming, or OOP, double OP, and I'm going to try to simplify everything I can in this video for classes. So if you find this video helpful and you enjoy the content, make sure to subscribe and like, as it'll show me that I'm doing my job right. So I'm in an empty VS Code. I'm just going to delete these three files we had from last video on imports. You can delete them, right click them, and then delete, or you can click the del button on your keyboard. I should do it too. It's not working for me, I don't think. Oh, it is working, it's just my laptop's slow. So I'm just going to delete these three, let my laptop load up a bit, and we'll create a new file called app.py. App.py is just like what I usually call my files. So before we get into classes or object-oriented programming, we need to go over the objects. Object. Hope I spelled that right. So objects, we need to go over what objects are first. And orientated means this style of programming is really focused on objects, and programming, you understand programming. So basically OOP is really object focused. So let me show you some example of objects. So a good example of objects would be a dictionary. So let's have a dictionary called grades, and then we have set of names, Jack, and then we'll have grade of B, and then we'll do Jim, grade of B plus, and then we'll do Jimmy or something, and then we'll have a grade of C minus. And this is a good example of object-oriented programming. Don't know why this is called. Yeah, we really add a comma here. So we basically gave this a value. So we know from dictionary this is a value, this is this is a key, and this is a value, and this is holding an object. So this grade is holding objects. So we can basically what object means we can pick out any of these values from using this grade. So this grade is an object, so we're using grades to pick out any of these values. So we can do that by we do print grades, and how we pick out values is we need to specify a key. We run this and we get B. So that's in short what an object is. So the dictionary here would be an object, because we have to talk to the dictionary to get the values inside of the dictionary. Same as a class would be an object, but dictionaries ain't really seen as an object. Some other examples similar to dictionaries would be lists, because we can do let me delete this so we don't get duplicate names. Delete that. So we can do it like we can have a list, and we can have a nested list, and we can have it where it's Jack, and then it's B again, and then outside the nested list we do another list, and we do Jim, and it's gonna be a B plus, I think it was. And we print grades, then we do 0, and then because we can't do Jack here because it's not a dictionary, so we do 0, and we don't want the name, we want the grade, so we do 1, and we run, and we get B. But classes is the best form of object-oriented programming, because it's really scalable, meaning you can add lots of new features to it, which is really great when you're working with real world programs. So let's say you made a mobile app and you want to add a new feature, something like um, uh, a calendar feature in your mobile app, which wasn't there before. You can easily make it with a class, and you don't have to worry of breaking any other code, because scalability means how easy is you can change your code without breaking it. So we've went over what object means. Let's get into classes. So classes is a neat way to pack a lot of data in one class. So we can pack a lot of data. So we'll go back to our grades scenario. So we make a class. So we set a class, and just like def, we use def to make a function. We use class to make a class, and usually when we make a class, we use camel case, meaning when we name our class, we need to first letter of every word has to be a capital letter. So we do grades, and obviously this is one word, but if this was two words, so we do student grades, we will have to name it like this. We can't name it like this, um, or we can't name it like this. Every word has to be capital letters, so just like that. Usually we use parentheses, but you can use parentheses, but you only use parentheses to inherit from other classes, which we won't be going through in this one. So we'll just be using a colon, and when we use a colon, it signifies we need to do an indentation. And we've got a class set up. Let me make a variable called student and name it Jim. And right here we have this variable called student, and this student is in scope with student grade, so we can't really access that student outside of the class, because then it'll say student is not defined, because student is only defined inside the class. But there's two types of things we can access from the class, so two types of objects. There's attributes, um, attributes which we can set, and there's methods which does some sort of so yeah, we got a method, we got attribute, and we got method. And I'll first demonstrate an attribute. So to create an attribute, we need a constructor. And what constructor basically is it's like setting your own parentheses for parameters for your class. So like what the class needs something. So let's just do student actually, and that shouldn't, yeah. So how we call a class, before I get into attributes, how we call a class is we don't just do print student, which you can do. It's got to be capital S, student grades, and then a parentheses, which you can do. But how we do it is we make a variable called S1, and S signifies student grades because S starts with student grade, equals student grade parentheses, and we print S1. So we print this, and we get this long string of gibberish. Don't worry about that for now. But how we get objects from this class, because we made an instance here, meaning we made a new instance, so we can reuse. So we can do s2 equals student. So let's say we had multiple class. So let's say we had this was a year 8 class, this was a year 9 class. So we can obviously use a function for different classes. But well, okay, that may confuse you. Let's say we had a different year group, because I use classes and classes again for a different meaning. So let's say we had different year groups. So this was the year 7 year 8 group, and this was the year 9 group, and year 8 group holds every student in year 8, and year 9 holds every student in year 9. And we don't have to just write so many lines, because this is 2 bits of lines rather than having to do so many lines to point all the students of year 8 and year 9. So because with the list we would have had to append all the names in a multiple lines, but this is cleaner to call an instance. So I'm going to stick with S1, and the reason this is showing a location, so like some gibberish, is we need to give this S1 an attribute method, because how methods work, we do S1 dot student, let's try student, and we run, and we get gym. So this is technically an attribute, to be fair. This is an attribute because we can call this student inside of the student grades, because this is a variable, and we can't just simply do student, so we can just do it like that. So we can do S1 student, and we run this and we get oh, so we're just down here. So we run this and we get gym, and obviously if we make a new a variable called year equals year 9, we're going to do dot year, get another attribute, and then we do year 9. But using these sort of what do you call it, we're basically hard coding these sort of attributes. So let's say if the user want to add a student that's not called gym, that'll be more difficult, because then we'll have to do it more like name equals, oh hold up, let me just put this above the class, name equals input enter name, and then we do like that, and then we'll do dot upper, no not upper, dot title, and then stick that name here, and we'll just do it like that, and we'll enter name, and it'll be something like Jack, and let me just change the attribute to student, clear, run this, and we get Jack. So this could be anything. We get Jack, we can get let's just say Bilal, my name, and it's my name there. But obviously if we had like multiple of attributes, so let's say if we had 6-7 attributes we want to use this class, that means we need 6-7 inputs, and that's not really clean, and because we're repeating ourselves multiple times. And there's a way we can do it inside the class where we create constructor, I can't see, and I'm gonna apologize, I cannot say that word for some reason right now. But we'll call it a const. So with that const, well, let me spell it out what I mean. That's what I'm trying to say, constructor, but we'll call it a const for now. What this const means is we can basically put in the values in here like a parameter in a function, instead of having to do inputs above the class. So let's get rid of this name, get rid of these two, and get rid of these two. And what we would do here is first we need to create a const, and how we create a const is by using a wizard wizard key or dunder method. I'll show you what wizard key or dunder method is. So basically we need to create a class, a function, because you can create functions inside of a class, but when you create a function inside of a class, it's not known as a function, it's known as a method. So any functions inside of a class is known as methods. So if we see a function inside of a class, we're going to call it methods from now on, because that's the second way of accessing objects. So we do def, and then we need to use this dunder method, and this dunder method is called init. And what this init means is when we initialize this student, so when we initialize it like s1 equals student, so when we're initializing it, we want the user to enter some parameters in here. So how we can force the user to enter parameters inside of here, we can create an init, and what the first parameter of the init uses is called self. So every method inside of the student grade uses the parameter self, and self is basically something Python creates, so don't worry about what self means for now, but just know it's just to access other attributes. So then uh, so now we've created our method, but it's actually a dunder method, which is more special than any other the other methods, but we'll go over other methods. So we'll just do a pass, meaning don't do anything. So how we explain our class, what so value we want to get, we need to give it as the other parameters. So we also want a name value, we want a score value, we want a year value, and how we save that inside the function, the class. How do we save those three values inside of the class, because we're gonna get these values from outside of the class, but once we get the values we want to save them. So we save them by doing self dot name equals name. This could be anything, this could be nm, this could be name, this could be abc, but try to make it like try to make it where you can understand it and like a good variable name. Self dot score equals score, and self dot year equals year. So what's happening here is we're creating an attribute called name, and it's taking this parameter. So these two link, these two link, and these two link, but these don't link with parameters. These are attributes we're creating because of the self dot. So let's try creating a class without we'll just do that without adding any parameters in, see what happens. And it says in it is missing 3 required position arguments: name, score, and year. So we'll just do kind of this. When you give it a name, we'll do Jim. When you give it a score, we'll do 40 out of 100. When you give it a year, we'll do year 9. And we run this, and Python is happy with that, and I think I'm happy with that, so I'll print s1. And let's say if you wanted to grab the let's say if you want to grab the year, do s1.year, and then we get the year 9. We say s1.name, and then we get Jim. And what's beautiful about this is we can do s2 because student grades, and then we can do Jack 60, and we'll do 10, and we can do s2 dot name, and now we get Jack. So we can basically easily create new objects, because the data what's inside here is are the values, and we're getting those values using this class as an object. So yeah, these are basically attributes, so we can grab attributes like this. But I want to introduce methods quickly. I've sort of did introduce methods, but I want to introduce like how we can manipulate methods to give us a output. So we can use def again to create a method, and here we have free range of what name we want to do, but I want to name it grade because I want to grab the grade using the score. I want to grab the grade for the student, so I want to do grade, do parentheses, and every method inside of a class needs a self, and we don't need any other parameters because we've got every attributes we need inside of the class already. And what we can do is total equals 100, so this is the total marks possible, and then we can do a score, we can do grade. Oh wait, if we do grade, because this is called grade, so we'll use student grade is equal to actually no, instead of grade let's do percentage. Let's get the percentage score. So we do percent equals so we need to access the score. We can't simply just access it by trying score. It won't give us an error, but what we have to do is actually do self.score, because any attributes we want to call from this init, we need to do self.score, and then we do self.score divided by total. We don't need to do self.total because total is a variable inside of the function, and we do that first, and then we times by 100 to get the percent. And then what we need to do is return it, so return percent, and then we've made our first method. Let me clean up the code here so you don't get confused too much. Put that up here, put that there, and we should be fine. So we've created gym. Actually, hold up. Maybe we should do it like f the students percent is then we do percent here, and then it'll give us a little message so we know we're calling this percentage function. So we've already have a instance here we've created. Let's just check out if this is working, and it is. So we've got gym, and gym has a mark out 40. So let's try the method. When we're calling the method, we can't just simply write like that, but it'll work, but it'll do this weird thing again where it gives us the location of the method. So remember, when we call functions, we need to give parameters. But you may be thinking, since we have a self parameter here, we need to give it a parameter here, but we don't need to because Python already handles it, so we don't need to give any self parameters inside of percentage. So let's try this, and we get the student percent is 40%, which is correct, as 40 out of 100 is 40%. So let's see if we change the total to 140, and now the student is 28%, and I didn't round it off, so it'll be a very long number. What's great about this is, let's say the school has decided to do another test, but the test total is not 100 anymore, so they do it to 120. So you can easily change it without having to change any of the code. So this is why it is so scalable, because you can change the code and you don't have to worry about anything else breaking. And let's say if the student decided to, the school decided to also add a grade parameter, so we do self.grade equals grade. Now we don't have to worry about anything breaking, but we do need to make sure we add a grade here. So we do a B, and now we run this, and nothing has broken. Apart from we do need to round this off, which we can do now quickly. You've never seen this before, but I've never mentioned this in another video, but this is how you simply round. You just do round, and I want to round it by 2 decimal places. Don't worry about if you don't know what it means, but now we've rounded it off, and that's basically classes. You can test around with if you want. These are methods, remember. These are attributes, and these are instances. Classes have 2 components: attributes, methods. Attributes are being made inside the init, and methods are made outside of the init, but we do still use functions. And remember to return the value of the method. Although we're not returning anything here, we're still using it to initialize our class. As I said, this won't be enough to fully understand classes, so I'll be linking a good tutorial in the description below from a YouTuber called Corey Schaefer. He does amazing object-oriented programming videos, so have a check out his channel. And I think this should be the last video in the Python series, so if you found the series helpful, make sure to subscribe and like. I hope this has helped you guys out learn Python significantly, and hopefully in the near future I'll be making a Django series or a follow-up from this Python series, so we can start making some websites. So yeah, hope you found this video helpful. See you in the next one.